Hello, welcome to another beautiful day on the desk. My name is Ramsey Enoch. Today, we'll be looking at some major headlines of this day. As a matter of fact, the 21st day of November 2025. But then, what are those major stories on the national dailies, beginning from the sentencing of Nnamdi Kanu? A lot of people have reacted. So many reactions on social media. You see people, three persons talking. They are talking about that case. Some are for, some are against, which is usual. But then it's on the papers today that he is going to be appealing that case. But how far can he go? Because this is more like a case between himself and the state, the Nigerian federal government itself. And apart from that, we've heard about the issue of adoption here and there, and it is been attributed to the statement by the President of the United States at some quarters. Not everyone is saying it, but then, is that really the reason why we are having these issues? All of this will be talked about, and a whole lot of other issues on the desk today. And I have two guests on the desk as usual today, and of course, they will join me in the conversation. Let's go on a quick break. After this break, when we return, I'll introduce my guest and the conversation will get on. Welcome back. It is still the desk. Let's get to the conversation. But before then, two gentlemen join me on the program today. Beginning from my right, I have Topsy Gimba. It's good to have you join us on the desk this evening.
It's a pleasure being with you this evening, Ramsey.
Thank you. When I have journalists with me on the program, there's a way I feel. I feel good. Gimba is a journalist, and of course, I also have Rex joining me. Rex O'Neill is joining me right on the program here. Rex O'Neill Mosa is also a journalist. It's good to have you join us on the desk this evening.
Thank you so much, Ramsey, and it's good to be here.
Thank you very much. Let's get to the conversation. I know some persons. See, one of the things that happen to us, the journalists, all the time is people feel we know everything.
Do we?
That's it. You know, you can't tell me that maybe one or two persons have not talked to you today about the sentencing of Nnamdi Kanu. That's how it is. If I ask Gimba now, he will say the same thing, because people believe if you want to know the truth, maybe this person is a media person, ask the person. You know, so as it is, on one of the papers today, we have the headline that says Nnamdi Kanu will be appealing. The headline says Kanu to appeal life sentence as lawyers weigh in, of course, on the ruling. What do you think about him appealing this sentence? Because this is between him and the federal government, and this is one case that has lingered for a very long time.
Well, basically, I would start by saying it's called due process. Yeah, because every sentence that is passed by any court of law at any level has certain days of duration that is given to the defendant to be able to appeal the judgment when eventually passed. And in Nnamdi Kanu's case, I could remember hearing the judge yesterday talking about Justice Omotosho telling him that he had 30 days to appeal whatever sentence it is. So in the next 30 days, we're going to be seeing more stories coming from that Nnamdi Kanu's part. And then yesterday also, as soon as the judgment was passed, and I saw a video that was made by Barrister Maxwell Okpara, one of his barristers that allegedly was said to be fired. So I was wondering, if they fire you, why are you now speaking on behalf of the client? So I kind of understood a lot of things that was happening in this Nnamdi Kanu's issue yesterday. Then why am I saying so? I'm saying so because now I'm sure we all saw what happened yesterday. We all saw the short clips of videos after the judgment where Nnamdi Kanu was shouting on the judge, telling him that is not the due process, that's not the law, that's not what the Constitution states. And in trying to follow, I realized that, well, I am not a lawyer. So I would not want to say due process was skipped. But from my understanding, it would be safe to say due process was skipped. Now, why am I saying so? You have a defendant, and a lot of things were brought against this person. In normal circumstances, he's supposed to have lawyers speak for him. But now the court agreed and allowed him speak for himself. So at the point where different counts were labeled against him, he was supposed to be responding to those counts. Like if you have a lawyer normally, that's what would happen. Count one comes, your lawyer speaks, either counter, he's able to get that judgment off you. But that didn't happen. The judge said he was going to give him the opportunity to have the closing remarks where he's going to be defending all the counts put together. And that didn't happen. That was what actually got Nnamdi Kanu angry yesterday. That was the point where he was shouting and saying, tell me or show me the part of the Constitution that states that I don't have the right to defend myself. Because you will bring up a judgment against me. You have counted or you have labeled all the counts that they have labeled against me. And you didn't give me the space to be able to defend myself. Even if you will find him guilty, at least give him the space to say something in defense to himself. That did not happen. And in all honesty...
But don't you think, he wanted to talk, and because of the ranting, there was an instruction that the microphone should be collected from him.
Yes.
Maybe because
it was at the point where he realized that opportunity would not be given to him anymore. So he was beginning, he was beginning to lose it. And right from time, if you've also been following this story, so many back and forth, plenty angles to this story. People have a lot of things they want to say. I also saw a video from his wife yesterday night. I was watching a video. The wife did a live stream video after the whole judgment thingy, and in her own explanation, my brother, it's just... Let's just leave it there. I don't want to push it any further. I don't want to push it any further.
I think the wife is even strong to be able to come out to make that.
Funny enough, his son did not even know what the judgment is all about as at that yesterday, because she had to hide, and she was stating it in the video that she didn't want the son to know what the judgment is yet. As usual, the usual story that they just gave the child is the usual back and forth in the court where I've gone and come back. Nothing meaningful has come out of it. But he doesn't know that the judgment has been passed as at last night when that video was taking place.
Oh, all right. Let's get to Gimba right now. Gimba, a lot of people are saying so many things right now about the judgment and the appealing the judgment. Do you think, is there any need appealing that judgment since it's a case between him and the state?
Well, it's possible for him to seek for appellation on this particular case. If you look at it, no issue either between an individual or individual with the state, that a person might not seek, seek for an appeal in this case. In the case of Kanu, it's very obvious that indeed he's fighting, or he was fighting the state until the pronouncement yesterday by the judge. But it's quite very unfortunate. Sometimes I get so afraid to discuss on issues like that, more essentially where litigation is involved in some of them. Because sometimes you're trying to be a mediator, you becomes a victim, and that's the situation I know in the case of in most cases in Nigeria. And if you look at the way this judgment was delivered yesterday, you will know that actually it has been fine-tuned to a level that at the end of the day you could have predicted before the judgment could be delivered that the way it happened yesterday, that actually was going to be sentenced to either life or whatever. And it's unfortunate. And I think the guy was like looking at himself, who was like seeking for self-determination for his people, like any other person who picks up arms against the state that could be described as an insurgent or a terrorist. And so if there are other terrorists who are in this country, over time they've been doing that. You don't forget that he was arrested in 2017. That was second tenure the first tenure of Buhari, that he was arrested in is it in Kenya or Ethiopia, thereabout?
Kenya.
Yeah, in Kenya. And at first instance, before he could be arrested, we knew that he was actually fighting for his own people, seeking for self-actualization of, Igbo as a country. And we have seen similar kind of cases like that happen in this country, where people are fighting against the state for over time. Many of them have been arrested and detained, at the point even freed, or either been asked to even join the military or some other work of the similar kind of ideology. So if you try to put yourself into it, somebody sits there and tells you that maybe you are looking for another case for yourself. Otherwise, as much as this judgment has been delivered, like the way it happened yesterday, I feel he needs to seek for his for the appeal and find out again whether or not the judgment delivered yesterday was actually correct or wrong. It is when those counts that were leveled against him, 7 of them, maybe 1 or 2 or 3, might not be like that. So we'll now wait to see how it will be within the next 30 days, whether he will appeal or not, which I believe he will.
No, I think he needs to appeal. I think I agree with Gimba there, because if you actually listen to the counts that was labeled against him, one of the counts spoke about during the NSAS protest that took place back then, and saying he was part of those that instigated the protest. Now, this man was locked up as at that time during the NSAS protest. And then you are saying he was part of those that instigated the protest with his kind of utterances that was made. Well, that was one of the counts. The one that, I think it was count 4, that had the 5 years imprisonment. You know, there were 3 counts. One count had 20 years imprisonment. That was count 5 had 20 years imprisonment. Then count 4, 5, 6 was a life imprisonment. Then 1, 2 was 5 years. Then I think 7 was 20 years imprisonment. And then Justice Omotosho said, in their own way of showing peace to him, that all counts will run concurrently. Guy, I'm to spend life imprisonment. 20 years and 5 years do not matter. Because even if I run it and it's done, I'm still going to be in the prison. So I honestly feel he needs to appeal. Even if it might not be total freedom, but you never can tell. Maybe the life imprisonment might just be reduced to maybe 20 years again or something else, but he honestly do need to appeal, because in Nnamdi Kanu, the ideologies, if you follow the ideologies or the ideas behind the IPOB, you would want to see reason in what they are saying. But again, how they go about it is the issue. How? That's always the issue. Even after he was locked up, you had the sit-at-home that took place in the eastern states of the country. You had how there were killings, allegedly said to be IPOB. In fact, back then, I remember in one of the programs I had then, I kept saying, this is not a way to protest for this man, because you are not helping the case. Instead, you are making it worse. Why? Because this man is described as the leader of this group. So anything that this group carries out, it is said to be that you are carrying out his instructions. It is said to be that you are carrying out his ideologies. Don't forget that the lawyers have access to him. They can speak to him, and he can pass messages. And these messages can also be passed down to whoever is seen as the interim head of that group at the moment. So anything you are doing is seen as acting in capacity of this man.
So invariably, you're trying to say maybe some of the actions of his supporters back at home, even while he was in custody, may have instigated the state against
Of course. It was mentioned in court yesterday. They mentioned Simon Ekpa.
Yes.
They mentioned Simon Ekpa yesterday in court. And bluntly, he said he didn't have anything to do with Simon Ekpa. Okay, we understand that fact. But Simon Ekpa was saying he was speaking and acting on behalf of the IPOB. And you said you are the leader of the IPOB. So tell me, if you are in the shoes of the federal, of course, if you are in the shoes of the federal government, what would you think?
You think he's the one passing the message?
Even if you are not the one now. But the point is, people acting in that capacity are not making your case any easy.
All right. People acting in that capacity are not making the case of Nnamdi Kanu any easy. As a matter of fact, the judgment has been passed and we're waiting for the appeal, as his lawyers have said. Kanu to appeal life sentence as lawyers weigh in on the ruling. Moving away from there, let's go to ADC right here. The second story on the National Daily today says ADC faults federal government's claim linking Trump post to renewed attacks. There have been attacks, in fact, apart from the one in Kebbi State and the one in Kwara State, we heard, which wasn't really true, there have been a disclaimer to that effect, that of Nasarawa State. But then...
Nasarawa disclaimed, they didn't say it never happened. They said it happened 2 months ago, not now.
Not now.
So which means it did happen.
It did happen. But why were they silent about it? That's one of the questions. Why now? Why is it coming to the media now? You know, so some people are saying this thing is premeditated. Some people are saying there are some people behind it. And some people are saying the renewed attack is as a result of the statement made by Donald Trump. What do you think? Could it be?
Now, you see, this whole thing that the federal government is doing right now, I'll call it the renovation tactics. For me, I call it the renovation tactics. Why? Because you are not bringing down a building to build again. You're just trying to patch it up to make it look beautiful. That's what they are doing right now. Do you understand? Now, why are you saying that the renewed attacks began after Trump post? Renewed attacks, when you call something renewed, that means that thing has been in existence. So now, these attacks have been there. You claim that they were brought or they were fought to a level, to a minimal level. Are we supposed to be talking about fighting insurgency to a minimal level, or we're supposed to be talking about insurgency being defeated at the moment? Does the federal government have the capacity? Yes. The question is, do the federal government have the will? That question I will leave for them to answer to us. They have the will. Do they really want to stop insecurity from happening in Nigeria? Why are we even talking about what Trump said? Where is your human feelings? Where is your sympathy as a human being? I was watching a short clip yesterday of a U.S. congressman that was almost in tears.
Yeah, he was. I saw it too.
Almost in tears. This is somebody who, in all honesty, if he wants to be sincere with himself, he doesn't have anything to lose with whatever is going on in Nigeria. But this man was almost in tears. And then you have somebody who is sitting at the helm of affairs here in the country with us. It's so disheartening that someone like Reno will go online and say that it is AI. Pastors are generating AI videos to show that Christians are being killed. Like, where is your brain? I just wake up and feel that I want to bring the general public, I want to bring the world to us and say, Ramsey and Wizkid, I'll now go and sit down on my system and do AI video and see that they killed Ramsey. Like, who thinks like that? Sometimes I wonder if the qualifications they tell us they have, they really do end them. Because you can't come and tell me that you are a master's holder, you are a PhD holder, you are a doctor, you are this one, professor, and then you are speaking what my son will not even speak.
I saw on social media where some persons are faulting the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, and the Minister of Foreign States, talking about Bianca Ojukwu, where they said, well, they have made a disclaimer that, of course, there are no killings, no Christian genocide in Nigeria.
Please, federal government, whoever is at the helm of affairs, you have no business speaking when you don't have anything to say. That's the truth.
All right, let me
You are even talking of these ministers. What about the statements made by Benue State Governor? Claiming that he's a reverend. You say you are a reverend, then you say that there's nothing like genocide happening in your state. There's no killing based on religion happening in your state. Yes, they've had clashes there, here or there. They've had crises here or there. That's how you put it, with people's life.
Maybe it's an AI. Maybe it's AI. AI. Let me not say AIT, Africa Independent Television. AI, artificial intelligence, of course. Yeah. Well, see, Topsy, this thing is getting out of hand. You know, somebody is feeling the pain somewhere. He was talking about somebody from the Congress who was asking questions yesterday and was almost crying. I heard there was an interview, I didn't watch that interview as a matter of fact, of a woman who attested to the fact that, in fact, when they came, she had to climb a tree with her baby, and the other babies were being slaughtered.
Five of them.
Five of them. You know, these things are happening. Doesn't matter whether it's a Christian or a Muslim. Don't Nigerian lives matter anymore? So what can you say about ADC faulting the federal government, saying the renewed attack? You can see what happened in Owo. Imagine that old woman is somebody's mother.
Ramsey,
they are demanding 100 million naira, you know, for the people that were abducted.
Ramsey, you remember the interview granted for the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yusuf Tuga, by one popular radio television in, I think, either in Britain or wherever. Anchored by Piers Morgan, where the program is equally called Uncensored. That's the name of the program. And he spoke extensively defending what was meant not to be defended, bringing the number of people killed in the past 5 years to 177.
I saw that, I was shouting.
Well, only this year we've had 7,000.
How many people were killed?
Only this year, 2025, 7,000.
How many people were killed in Uwelta?
That is it. Let me say, or to talk about Dogonahawa when this problem started. All these issues are there and they're well documented. Everybody knows about that. So for anybody to come, appear before television, either radio, and then he or she begins to defend himself in a way that the truth are distorted or facts are distorted, wouldn't speak very well about that kind of person, really. And so I feel so offended, and I feel so shy about certain things that we hear about Nigerian leaders talking about the genocide here in Nigeria, which of course America or either the European countries, these are developed countries. They don't just speak anyhow. Before they come up to lay allegation against either individual or a state, they come through data and facts. These issues are very much there with them. They even know Nigeria more than the way we know Nigeria, though we live inside it. And so it is quite unfortunate, you know, when the ship is about to sink, it becomes so rudderless in nature, as if there's no captain in it. That's the way it is in this scenario we're talking about today. It's unfortunate that we have found ourselves in that. The only thing maybe they are afraid of, maybe because Trump has made his pronouncement that indeed certain things might come out either, you know, to sanction or either to come with force, you know, to attack terrorists in this country. And so they are much afraid because it's happening within this government. And so they don't know at the end of the day what might become if it does occur, like the way Trump is saying it. And so they are scampering all over the place to put facts together. And they're putting those facts together. They're not even doing that very well. That even they have been laid so bare in the society, in the open, that everybody knows that truly they're not saying the correct thing. Like what we saw yesterday, you know, at the public hearing in the United House, you know very well that in these people have properly documented much about what's happening in this country. You know, not talk about the woman that was standing with the Reverend Father and further testify on that particular act where much often Nigerians are being killed in the name of their faith.
On one of the papers today, you know, there is a misunderstanding of the statement that was made by Donald Trump. Some Nigerians were not really comfortable with his choice of words when he was saying Nigeria is a disgraced country. I saw what on one of the papers or somewhere today where Peter Obi re-emphasized the same thing, the issue of disgrace and embarrassment because the government is not catering for her people or something. But then on one of the papers today, it's been said U.S. Congress hold hearing on insecurity, 6 ways to help Nigeria help itself. It was on one of the papers today.
Yeah.
But what can you think about that? Because some Nigerians are saying U.S. president have said they are coming to attack Nigeria.
U.S. President Donald Trump did not categorically say he was going to attack Nigeria per se. He specifically talked about terrorism. He said there is an existential threat in the country where Christians are killed in their numbers. And so they actually coming like the way the terrorists are doing, viciously attacking, and to be sweet for the country so that he put an end to it. I'm just paraphrasing what he said in that speech. And so that's exactly what he said. If he comes to Nigeria to attack Nigeria, I don't think it's like the way they are saying it or they're seeing it. What Donald Trump intends to do, if actually he will come, first of all, he will implement trying to gag us by either freezing some assets of those people they have so far identified. Of course, in most of these rhetorics, they have actually identified about 12 states that already have shown interest of putting this matter in the way it is today. And so Donald Trump is saying they know about 12 states in northern Nigeria that are given backing to this terrorism that we're seeing in this country. And within these 12 states, there are individuals who are like more or less supporting what we're seeing. And so these are the people that are likely to either freeze their accounts wherever they might be. Don't forget that United Nations dollar is all over the universe. That you don't have to have an account in America before your account will be frozen. As much as you are using dollar to transact, whether you are in China, in Saudi Arabia, in Guatemala, wherever you are, as much as dollar is the means of for transactions, it's very clear that they are actually going to find you out, because all of these countries, they are using dollar and they are in alliance with United States of America. And so nobody has anywhere to go when it comes to that. So that one will come in that stage. Like the public hearing that we saw yesterday, by the time they conclude, they will now compile the reports and forward it with the acknowledgement of the Senate, and then they will now send it to Donald Trump. Within 90 days, it will now mature for any action to take place.
Okay, so there is a sitting going on in respect to this.
Yeah.
Because you cover the National Assembly, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
All right, let me get to Rex. Now, it's been said, okay, helping Nigeria to help itself. That's what's on the papers. Helping Nigeria to help itself. But we heard it was going to be an invasion. What does that statement mean to you? Because a lot of Nigerians have different interpretations. Like he just put it, different interpretations to this very statement by Donald Trump. When you say you want to help Nigeria to help itself.
It means Nigeria is helpless. It means Nigeria is handicapped. Now, let me give this illustration for proper understanding for people who are watching us right now. Now, you have your family, and at different points in time, they find your son and probably you coming to have meals in my house. Yeah? Then they find your wife and maybe your daughter going to have water or change of clothes in Gimbasi's house. Are you a disgrace of your husband? Yes or no?
You know the answer already. Go ahead.
So what are we saying? Now you have internal threats. How long has this lasted again? Please remind me. I don't want to calculate. If I remember, since the time of Goodluck Jonathan, that was when this started. It started like mere joke. We thought it was something that, okay, we wake up next week and we hear it's done and dusted.
2011. 2011. At the height of it, 2011.
Good. It dragged all the way down. And that was, it was on that premise they used in voting out Goodluck Jonathan. They needed somebody who had military ideology. They needed somebody who had the touch of the military to come and be in charge, maybe we'll see a change. And that was what gave birth to the birth of late former President Muhammadu Buhari. What did we see? We saw the situation escalate from what it used to be. In fact, people died more in Buhari's 8 years of being president than they died in Goodluck's time. What are we seeing happening now? Why are we failing to call a spade a spade? If I cannot secure my territory, somebody else is doing it for me. Is that to say I'm a responsible person? I should be able to do what it means for you to call me a responsible man. If I wake up today that I want to get married as a man, I should be able to know that I have a house where I'm keeping. I will not carry somebody's daughter and will come and stay under the bridge. I'm able to provide food. I'm able to provide clothing. I'm able to provide her basic needs. That's what it means. So if you are not providing the basic needs for citizens in your country, are you not a disgrace? And what are the basic needs? Security, health, food, shelter. These things that I've mentioned, please tell me, in the last 15 years, which one can you give a pass mark to? You are even thinking it. None. Basically. So let this government not feel like
I don't want to talk.
Yeah, no, I get.
Really,
let this government not feel like we're hammering on this government alone. It is the Nigerian system.
Not just Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Good. That's what I said in the last 15 years.
Yeah.
Tell me which.
But why is it like that? That's the question. Leadership. And I say leadership because it is you, the person. It is not the people that work with you. If I am a criminal, I will definitely let some things go. If I come with good intent, see, it doesn't take the president anything to wake up and say, take that minister out. He's not representing what I stand for. And nobody will blink. I think the president did that because some ministers were asked under his administration.
Mm-hmm. On what yardstick did they use to measure their work rate?
I don't know.
Because if you want to start talking that now, there are so many ministers I will list for you that stay in that cabinet that basically don't have businesses being in that cabinet.
Even when that asking happened, when he asked those other ministers, people were still saying, no. What about this minister? This minister would have been taken out. So people were,
of course, there were a lot of ministers that didn't do anything. Now, you are talking about Nigeria not being a disgrace. The US Congress is deliberating what Nigeria's National Assembly is supposed to be doing. Because what is going on in the US Congress is what we are supposed to be seeing Akpabio and the likes of them in the red chambers. That is what we should be seeing them talking about every day.
And not Natasha Saga.
Not Natasha Saga. Not the bill to I was looking at the House of Reps clip for, I think it was their last plenary on Tuesday or so. They were deliberating to open School of Nursing in Gwagwalada. I mean, to upgrade the one that is there. So I think it's upgrading the School of Nursing.
It has become a college.
Thank you. In Gwagwalada. Well, meanwhile, less than 2 hours away from us, Nasarawa State, students were carried in school. Insecurity. And then your own bone of contention is upgrading a school.
I think the government is overwhelmed. Seriously overwhelmed.
That's what you feel, right?
Yes. The government is overwhelmed. And the National Assembly is a stooge to the executive. Because the leadership that formed what is said the Senate, where the names were submitted by the executive so that they will do its own bidding. That's the way it is.
Exactly.
And so you don't expect National Assembly to do much, maybe to reflect the interests of Nigerians on issues that are quite very relevant and require to be taken decisively. You will not see that really happening. At any point in time, when you listen to their debates on national issues, at the end they will turn in praise singing of the president.
On your mandate
to stand. Imagine there was this particular bill that was passed, that scaled through second reading, that I had to use it for analysis here in the studio. I thought when they were talking about Nigeria is free from corruption, I thought the corruption they were referring to was the total corruption I know about Nigeria. I never knew they were talking about the transactional way of life at the international level. But when the president came up with the bill, He was praising Akpabio, praising what do you call him, praising Tinubu, that he has removed corruption. That's until when somebody are brought into the studio who's into this Bureau de Change, that he clearly stated that it wasn't meant to be general corruption we know in this country, but just in this Bureau de Change where now Nigeria can do it freely without anybody saying no. But they were pressing what do you call it? They were pressing Tinubu, pressing
corruption is over.
And most of us that were just watching them, we felt it was general tag name that is called corruption Nigeria that has been set free by the
I think that's the same thing somebody said on the issue yesterday, that it's like the politicians use grammar to confuse a lot of Nigerians.
Of us that are sitting down watching them. It's unfortunate that we have gone to that level the way they are. Very, very unfortunate. And so because the government is overwhelmed, they keep using rhetorics to deceive you what the reality is, or treating the symptom what the ignorance is there. These killings will never stop. Even the military, they keep changing their service chiefs, and you will never see any result at the end of the day. You can imagine, terrorists riding on their motorbikes, hanging rifles to overpower soldiers that we believe they have aircrafts.
You are even talking of
at the end of the day.
You are even talking
with
of
everything,
with cars,
and then they successfully execute their operation, and they will disappear like spirits without anybody being caught. To an extent that generals are even killed.
Do you know the annoying part of this thing? You are talking of even hanging on bikes. Now we've had different times where state governors, government officials have come out to say they had a peace pact, a peace meeting with terrorists. Now, Nigeria is a sovereign nation. They keep saying that. They keep reminding us, Abi. Now, Nigeria have gun laws. It is against the law of Nigeria for you to carry arms publicly if you are not a security personnel. And even the security personnel, they have level clearance. It is against the law. Now, a government official, security officials in high level, we carry their khaki, we iron their agbada, carry their convoy, drive and go and sit down under canopy, that you are doing peace meeting with terrorists, that will come with arms, and you are not saying or doing anything. The major problem in Nigeria is disregard for the rule of law. It starts from the top to the bottom. Because you see, every small thing that happens in Nigeria, the next statement you are hearing is, do you know who am I?
Yeah.
Who are you?
It's a common language in Nigeria.
Who are you? Are you bigger than the constitution? Are you bigger than the law? And it's so disheartening and it's so embarrassing that you see that these same people that are doing, do you know who I am? Enter plane and fly to America. Nobody reach them obey law. Nobody, I say nobody. They obey the law in other countries more than even the citizens of the country.
Carrying their bags on their shoulders by themselves.
You will see your president dragging or your minister dragging his bag in the airport.
In the airport, nobody helps him.
Nobody helps him. Well, when you are in Nigeria, there is no regard for law.
Yeah.
So how do you change the mentality of such a person?
All right. That's a big problem right there. How do we get to change the mentality of people in governance in Nigeria, especially the politicians? Let's go on a quick break. If we return, we will weigh the capacity of Nigeria and Nigeria's ability to handle terrorism. As a matter of fact, do we have that ability and capacity? You'll get to know after this break. Stay with us.
It's in Nigeria. Who wants? When it comes to issues that have to do with the nation Nigeria,
This is our country. We don't have any other country anywhere. This is the only country that we have. So sometimes when we hear people, you see the way Rex was talking. When Gimba started talking, it's as if we should just say, okay, come 2027, you will be our president because you know what we want. But then, as it is right now, where are we as it has to do with this situation? Now, let's get to see. On one of the papers, there is this headline that actually caught my fancy, and it is a question because we have what it takes, according to what Nigerians are saying, to put terrorism to an end in Nigeria. But then, let's look at it very carefully now. This is it. As it has to do with the insecurity situation in Nigeria, does Nigeria have, that is, U.S. lawmakers question Nigeria's will and capacity to curb violence? That's what they are saying now. They are questioning Nigeria's capacity. Means, in order, does that mean their coming is a sure thing? Because they are questioning Nigeria's capacity and ability, you know, to curb insurgency. What does that mean? Meaning whether you like it or not, we are coming because you don't have the capacity.
Well,
but don't we have the capacity?
I want to see it from a different angle. First and foremost, the question is, are you doubting the coming of the United States? Please don't doubt if you are doubting. Because that's definitely going to happen.
Okay, Nigerians can hear you.
That's definitely going to happen. Because why am I saying it's definitely going to happen? Because if you look at the body language of the government, it's not looking like they don't want it to happen. It's not looking that way. Because in the past 2 weeks, how many schools have been raided in different parts of the country? In the past 2 weeks. It's like the renewed attacks now is on schools. They are no longer entering communities or blocking highways as it used to be. Now it's schools. And if you want to touch, permit me to use the word, if you want to touch the move button of the United States, in any part of this world, is when you are dealing with minors. When you start touching minors, United States will act swift. That's why you've been seeing Congress speaking back to back in the past 2 or 3 days now. And anything that make Congress to just pass that bill and agree, it won't take up to 1 week. You will hear different stories. You will hear how calm the country will be. Because there's this thing that the world has come to agree, the G7. They gave United States that power. When it comes to lack of peace, they can act. It gets to a point that they don't need to call the president of Russia and say, your country is being attacked, or terrorists, what can we do? What they are supposed to do is what Trump just did now. They will inform you. We are coming, that we are coming.
Your country is a country of concern.
Good. Now that we are coming is a space for you to adjust if you think there's anything you can do. That's why they are not coming immediately. The we are coming is for your government to adjust. So if your government doesn't adjust, it gets to a point, depending on the time frame that they've agreed on. If it's 1 month, if it's 6 months, if it's 2 weeks, if your government do not adjust within that time frame, then you will feel their impact. That is it. Now, I said it earlier, Nigeria has the capacity, yes. Because guys, come on, let's tell ourselves the truth. Our army was the face of the ECOMOG back in the days.
Yes.
This same army.
Sierra Leone, Liberia,
like Nigerian army ran it. Did we see victory? Yes. Did they succeed? Yes. So what is happening? Have they changed? No. Is it not the same AK-47 or the same weapons that we have now? Yes. Even if the terrorists have advanced weapons, as they always call it, do they have advanced tactics? Do they have the kind of training that the Nigerian army have?
What happened to
Do you know how much Nigeria as a state spent on one army, on one military personnel?
All right, our time is fast spent.
Yeah. You said whether Nigeria has capacity. I concur with him. Yes, we have capacity. But this political correctness
towards
2027 will not allow it to happen.
Yeah.
And that's exactly where we are. Political correctness in the sense that the government is afraid, looking at some regions, that if they invade that region using the internal security, there will be implosion, and then at the end, hatred will emerge, and then when the election comes, the person gets nothing. And so the person toys with the lives of Nigerians so that he re-engages himself in the second round of the election that he expects to get. That's the situation. Not that we are not strong. We are very, very strong. Like he mentioned, many countries we have indicated, we have shown our capability as a force. So when it comes to internal security, we are struggling to battle some boys who we consider are not well fed. And then they are even terrorizing generals, and extent generals are even killed.
Brigadier General.
Yes, at the battlefield. That shows the level that they are not ready. And if they are not ready, there's no political will in it. If there's no political will, obviously there wouldn't be anything except we get the support of the foreign government, and that would be America this time. Remember, America entered this country to save one of their own, just one. The government, either of Nigeria, they didn't know when the soldiers that were assigned to carry that operation. And when they ended the operation, one of them said that the kidnapper died before they were even shot. Meaning they didn't even know that the killers were there. That, in this case now, army squad were there to rescue their own. They didn't even know. Before they would realize that they were there, they were already dead. They were already dead. And so if they mean to come here, America, like you rightly mentioned, that's what we call responsibility to protect. It was given to Nigeria, to United States of America, by the United Nations on counter-terrorism. They can enter anywhere without anybody. And we have seen that really happening. We saw that happening recently in Iran. And many other countries, they get there without anybody saying anything. But Nigerians are jubilating that China is there because China are constructing a railway line here. They feel China is basically on the economy. Where have you seen China? Iran is one of the countries being supported by China or either Russia. But when Israel and America were attacking, did we see anybody raising anything? There will be writing strong statements, and this statement they will end up there.
Well,
so nobody should think that when America enters Nigeria, China has a population of over 2 billion.
Let's remove that when America enters Nigeria. Personally, this is my personal opinion. I'm not speaking for anybody. I feel America is already in Nigeria.
That's how you feel?
I feel America is already in Nigeria.
All right.
They're just waiting for that order to come.
Oh, all right. I don't know, but then our time is fast spent. This is where we will call it a wrap. But there are so many other things that I would have loved us to look at. But then we won't be able to look at all of that because WAEC have shifted our full CBT exam to 2027.
They are not ready.
I don't know, but I don't. The person is. We're talking about it this morning, and I was trying to question the extent of computer literacy in our schools today. Especially this is West African Examination Council that people take even in interior villages in Nigeria. How many of them even have access to computers? Because personally, I've trained secondary school teachers in a particular state in Nigeria before, and I was surprised on digital skill. And I was surprised that some of them don't know BEM as far as computer is concerned. You know, this is how much more the students?
You see, Ramsey, it's unfortunate that they're talking about computer-based exams by this jam. Then by the time the child sees computer-based, he gets to the university, he finds he's dealing with biro and paper without anything.
Do you understand?
So to what extent has he had? So I see it's a fraud.
Now, and now you are taking exams to 2027. When is the election year again in Nigeria? Please remind me.
2027.
So who's going to release those funds?
Well, that's another question. Well, if we want to continue with this conversation,
that's they are not ready
yet today.
They are not ready, don't worry.
But then it's West African Examination Council. Will you be able to...
Every country has a percentage of funds that come in.
Funds that comes in. All right. Because of our time, we won't be able to continue with the discussion. But WAEC shift full CBT exam to 2027. So let's keep our fingers crossed and wait until 2027.
I beg, my fingers straight. I'm not crossing.
When Amopiton is getting ready for free and fair election, let's see what the board, the whiteboard will be doing above that. Many thanks for joining us, Gimba, on the desk today.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Rex, for joining us on the desk today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, viewers out there, you've heard everything that we've talked about today, but then the most important thing is that the life of every single Nigerian matters, whether the United States has made a statement or not, whether people are debunking the statement by the President of the United States or not. The most important thing is that peace is supposed to be something that we all should call and push and strive for. My name is Ramsey Enoch. I will thank you for joining us on the desk today. Bye-bye for now.